How you guys doing today? As you can see, the crafts are kind of taking over the kitchen now, so I'm just gonna stay strong. Maybe we'll do a little tidying up, but you know what? It's all about going with the flow, right? On that note, yesterday I noticed that my mushrooms were getting a little, I call them water spots. They're not bad. They're just starting to get some of that residual moisture from being in the refrigerator. It's a perfect time to kind of clean those up and address Amy Gillette because she wants to know what makes my garlic bread so good. And, butter, of course. You can absolutely use olive oil. You could use any kind of oil to give your garlic bread a little love. I don't care what you do. Fresh ginger and garlic is a pretty good idea too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of starting the flame, but I always start low because I don't want to burn my butter and I want it to be kind of creamy when I do this. Got some fresh garlic, which is great. And this, you got in the jar, you got powdered, I don't care. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to give tips. I find that fresh garlic is just a great way to relieve some pressure. I am doing the whole thing. Yes, I am doing the whole thing because I love garlic and I wanted you all to see how easy it is to take out your frustrations on the garlic. I've got my scallions right here. I'm gonna put those to the side. And I've got my cream, that's for later. And so I just kind of separate the paper from the toes when I do the bulb. And I kind of push everything to the side. I like the right, you can do the left, I don't care, you know. Like from my Jewish family, you know, you might want it on the other side of the board. And then I just smush it, right? And I keep my paper and my goo over here. Look at that one, that was a bonus one. Look at that, that's another bonus one. Holy cow, this must be like, you know, our COVID miracle garlic here because it just seems like I don't have to really take the paper off a lot of this. And it's kind of fun, and you'll understand how much sugar is in this garlic because your hands will get all sticky, and that's okay. That's actually a good sign. Back in the day, when I worked way across the country, we actually used a paint shaker because we went through so much fresh garlic, and that was before, of course, you could get like the delicious peeled garlic from Gordon Food Service, which I'm missing my bag right now, but you know, times are gonna be different for a while. But you can use a martini shaker too. If you really want to get that shake weight workout, you just keep shaking it, and pretty soon the sugar from the bulbs collects into the inside of the martini shaker, and then the paper starts to kind of stick, and that's great too. Knife skill, tip down, especially when doing garlic. I use all of my fingers. Some people use knuckles. I would just end up with blind knuckles, to tell you the truth. Sharp knife, and I'll have a whole thing that Jeff Hagen and I shot not too long ago for your knife skills. I'm also listening to my pan as I'm talking to you. I'm getting that awesome creaminess. And just a quick word, that white stuff is whey protein. That's all the flavor. That's why I've never been a big fan, I'm turning the pan off right now. Big fan of drawn butter for seafood because the whey has all the flavor. So as you see, I'm keeping my tip down. Now then, if you were probably smarter than me by now, you will put it in your mini chopper, which I have, but I want people to really take this time to work on their knife skills because they're fun. And then I just do this, now that it's kind of broken up, and you'll see it's not that hard. And I like, myself, I like bigger chunks. And what I do is I just kind of go all the way down the board like this, and then I'm going like this. And then as long as I'm just working it, that's all that counts. You know, you can do, you know, this, but I like control of my product on the board, and it doesn't scare the dog so much. So as you can see, as my butter is now melted because it's using the residual heat, I'm still gonna do just a little bit more. I love garlic. Garlic is just the best. And while we're doing this, the lore that I always talk about with garlic is the reason why people wear garlic around their neck to rid vampires is because the lore came from the plague. And vampires back then, not the six-pack abs vampires that you kids are watching. I'm with the, hey, I've got a werewolf friend and we're after the same human girl. I'm talking about blah, blah, blah. I don't say blah, 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 Hotel Transylvanian type vampires. Well, the garlic people that were selling the garlic would wear it around their neck. And garlic is such a great natural antibiotic, which is great at this time of the world, that they consumed so much garlic. And what was cool is they didn't get the plague because, one, they were washing their hands a lot because they were sticky from handling the garlic. That's a theory. And they're consuming so much of a natural antibiotic, they never got the flu or the plague. So keep that in mind, that there's a lot of natural foods out there that can keep us going. I look forward to all you guys hit me up with some cool stuff, so maybe I have in-house that I can start cooking with. But yeah, so just keep it simple, stupid with your food, and know that food can be healing too. So I'm gonna throw this right here, every bit of it in the pan. And it seems ridiculous, right? That I just did all that garlic, but it's not. I'm going to bring it up to temperature one more time, just real quick, while I cut my Van sourdough rolls. Now then, this is seriously some of the best sourdough that we have in West Michigan. It's so delicious, it's so good. It holds up in the freezer, you take it out, you throw it in the oven, it will literally taste fresh baked. I've been using it going on 30 years, and I just love the history of it. And remember, Vandermeers, you owe me a history lesson of your family because it's amazing, and it's a testament to the amazing Dutch history that we have in Grand Rapids. I know we like to bust their chops a little bit, but they're phenomenal. So, I've done this, right? And all I'm doing is swirl, swirl, swirl. Pretty cool, huh? And I'm gonna put that on my cutting board. Now then, you see how like everything in my kitchen is like this? This is why I'm chubby. I'm not working too hard to get what I need, right? And now I've got my cookie sheet right here. My oven's at 350. You could go a little higher if you want. But look at this. I'm literally pushing the sourdough roll that has been going on since 1913. I do know a little bit of Van's history. I think it's 1913. And I've got these big chunks of garlic and this butter that is just so delicious. So I've got that going for me, right? And then I always like to do just a little bit of salt, like the rain softly going on the plains there in Ireland. It's a soft rain. It's not the rain that sits at your head rise. It is just falling lovely there. So, I've got that going. Sorry, Vandermeers, I had to kind of counteract all that Dutch talk with a little Irishman. So now what I've got is I've got a pan still filled with a ton of delicious garlic and butter. I'm gonna bring it up to heat. And now, if you remember what I said yesterday, I'm gonna cook these mushrooms. I'm not gonna throw this stuff out. This is delicious. These mushrooms can be used in a million ways. I'm gonna show you just one. So one, I put all my mushrooms in there. And mushrooms are nature's sponge, so it's got tons of water. That's why you start getting those water spots and they're no fun. But we're gonna cook those down a little bit. And while that's going on, right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna chop up a bunch of green onions on a bias, and I'm just doing this. So I'm slowing it down because it's like the little engine that could chugga chugga. See that? I don't know if you can see this, I hope you do, but it's all about keeping your tip down keeping your eyes on the prize, which I'm not doing because I'm a professional. You can try it at home, I don't care, but don't cut yourself too deep. And you can try it if you have super glue. And I'm just cutting these scallions just on a little bias, which means diagonal. And I'm just doing this real quick because this is what we're gonna use to help cook the mushrooms in and how we're gonna finish it off. So right here, and I'm going to all the whites because the whites have all the flavor. The whites are, the white part of the green onion is grossly neglected when it comes to flavor and love. So I'm gonna put a handful of the greens with the whites right here, okay? I'm doing this, and that's cool. And I'm, again, cleaning as I go. I've got a vessel right now where I can put all my little scraps and all my little things in, and now my area is clean. By the way, I happen to have quat sanitizer, but if you have white kitchen towels, you can put a splash of bleach in there, and then you automatically have a damp towel that you know is bacteria free and that the bacteria is not growing on. And that's just a good for just kind of cleaning as you go and whatnot. And it's also a good substitution for going through a lot of paper wipes. And with a teenager in this house, it's a constant fun battle of making sure that she sneezes into her arm and keeps everything clean. So now I can hear my sizzle, right? And this is a perfect time to learn how to flip. I'm using centrifugal force to create a round little circle here, which gathers everything in the center. And that motion and coming back is release and catch, release and catch, release and catch, release and catch. That's all you have to do. Once the pan gets cold, it's hard to do, but release and catch, release and catch, release and catch. I just came up with that. Maybe because we're all gonna have to start fishing. So with that note, you've got these beautiful mushrooms going. If I want to, and which I'm going to, is I'm gonna pull some right now. I'm gonna grab a nice little bowl and I'm gonna pull some of these because now I've inherently preserved some of these. First I want to season a little bit. Salt and pepper, use whatever you like. But I always season towards the end of mushrooms because salt's gonna pull out maybe too much of that moisture, and then your nature sponge is gonna get tough and chewy. Kind of like how when you leave your sponge out and it gets sort of like, So I'm just pulling some of these to the side right now so that later on when I make a killer sandwich and I want some sauteed mushrooms on my Van sourdough, I've got it. I'm shaking my mushrooms like that. I've tasted, oh my gosh, it's so good. I haven't overcooked them. Excuse my mouth. I'm gonna take a peek into my oven, which apparently now has some paint on it. And those are toasting up gorgeously. And I'm just kind of letting these simmer. And I wanted to share a little story with you because I saw somebody like someone that babysat me when I was 2 years old, Linda Lamphere. She liked something on the Facebook. They're my family. And I was like, you know what? I'm calling her. The second I got that like, I took the opportunity to call her because one, she made me feel better. And two, I miss her. And three, now's the time that you can start making these calls and saying, hey, how you doing? Where you been? You know, talk. You can use the FaceTime if you want or any other screenshot service you have. And now's a great time to show the love and appreciation for your family and friends. And so, yeah, take time to acknowledge the people you love other than just a heart or a like or an emoji. Give them a call. So, these mushrooms are perfect. This is when I would traditionally flambe with cognac or throw a little red wine in there. But right now, I'm gonna kind of use that as my first aid kit. So you don't have to add any booze to it, but anything you want to put in here that's gonna give a little bit of that earthy flavor, red, white wine, vermouth, that bottle of vermouth that's been hanging out in your bar forever that you'll never go through. Anything like that, a splash of that's gonna give it a better flavor. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of heavy whipping cream, all right? Because whipping cream lasts forever. So I bought this forever ago. This has been in my fridge unopened, and this has an April 14th date. So a dab will do you on the heavy whipping cream. And now we're just gonna reduce this down, and it's gonna get thick and it's gonna get delicious. And then I'm gonna give it a little bit more salt and pepper, because cream takes a ton of salt and pepper to kind of, get it going. If you add too much, that's okay. And so this is what I've always called my trendy mushroom sauté, but I've done it with like morel, shiitake, oyster cremini mushrooms, which I have dried up there behind here, which you can't see. But those I'm just gonna they're expensive, so I'm just gonna kind of keep those at bay. But yeah, so I'm constantly rotating. Notice I haven't used a spoon for anything other than to get the mushrooms out. You really, when you're sauteing, just use the heat in the pan. That's all you need. Now then, it's really cool because now you've got really a cream mushroom base. And by all means, if you want to use almond milk or soy milk, you totally can. They will reduce down wonderfully. And so what I'm doing is I'm gonna let reduce and thicken. Now then, when my crostinis are done, this is one, like, it's part of the show, and you've had it. If you had me in your home, you've had this a million times. It's my favorite thing to eat. And I just put it on these warm crostinis because it's what I do to start with everybody. Is I start with this cooking in the house because your smell-o-vision is ridiculous. I mean, the house smells of garlic and fresh bread and a little bit of butter and a little bit of cream and a little bit of love. And that's what every kitchen should have, right? A little bit of love. So, and that's why I'm doing this. So that is almost reduced perfectly. We've got a couple minutes on the crostinis, but I cannot implore you enough to every day go in your fridge and see what has little water spots on it. Text me, email me, Facebook me. Chef, I got this, I don't want to waste it, because this is the time where our country is gonna be amazing, is when we learn how to conserve our resources just to get by this together. So instead of going, oh, these mushrooms look of course, if they're slimy, if it smells bad, get rid of it. But the best way we can preserve food is to cook it with heat. We can salt it, we can can it, and of course we can put acid to it, and like ceviche or pickling or whatnot. So look at this. This just smells ridiculous. I can't tell you at all. Look at this. This is gonna freak everybody out. But this thing's so hot that any bacteria on my finger is dead, right? And it's perfect. It's a perfect little love type deal. I'm gonna grab another thing here. Now then, I already want to talk to you about what we can do to keep this thing rolling. I'm making these crostinis, and we're gonna have this for lunch, and we're gonna use that last chicken breast. So I'm gonna heat up the chicken breast, put it on the crostinis, and that's what we're gonna do, right? Well, now all of a sudden I've got 6 crostinis here. One, believe it or not, look at this, you guys. Ziploc bag. Here's my crostinis from, last week. They're like big giant croutons. I can make croutons out of these easily, but more importantly, just bragging, I happen to have some homemade French onion soup in the freezer that I pulled. So that, I don't know if you can see it, but you put it in a little soup thing with the French onion, you put the crostini on top, you throw it in the oven for a couple seconds to get the cheese all bubbly. Whatever you got is fine. Now I've got French onion for the family. Or better yet, I can cut those up and not only have croutons, but there's my stuffing blend for that extra turkey stock Jill ordered. So I just called you Jill Warder. It's Jill Ward Cooter. I think that's how you pronounce it now. And so we're not wasting anything. Italians, we have a loaf of bread. It's usually purchased fresh every day. We cut that bread, we save the breadcrumbs, and then whatever we have left over, we make crostinis, and we make croutons, and more importantly, breadcrumbs for Parmesan. So I'm just doing this. I'm shaking this down. This is absolutely perfect. Now then, oh my goodness gracious. My wife likes things a little bit lighter, and that's totally cool, because happy wife, happy life. But with these crostinis now, I can totally take out, look at that, you know. Again, you can tell that my family likes things. You can leave them in longer. I'm not here to judge. But what I can do now is I can make these crostinis, right? And I'm just gonna take my little spatula, right? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get some more of the juice because the juice is gonna soak right into that crostini, right? That's so good. And then yes, I'm going to the fridge. Of course, I've got a ton of Parmesan in the fridge. And then I'm going to do a little bit of this. Just for that. I don't care if you put cheddar on it. I don't care if you put blue on it. You just need a little bit of love. There's your crostinis, right? Now then, I've got all these delicious scallions. You cannot waste those scallions. They're so good. They're gonna wake up everything, right? I'm gonna make that look pretty for the still shot. But then, look, I've got a whole pan here of Trendy mushroom sauté. I can add some milk to it, blend it a little bit, blend it a lot, and now I've got a cream of mushroom soup, or I've got mushroom bisque. Or I can chop all that up, chop up the leftover crostinis while it's cool, add a little bit of egg, put it in a buttered dish like a loaf pan, and now I've got the most amazing savory bread pudding you ever have. It's our dressing, you know. Hope you looked up the recipe on live. I'll post it again on the Facebook. But there's 8 million ways to take care of the situation of I've got bread that might be getting a little bit stale. I've got mushrooms that are definitely water spot, but they're not bad. And now I've made all this stuff, and all I had to do was add butter, scallions, and a little bit of cheese and cream. So enjoy, and thank you very much.